Chapter 19. The absence of light, pitch black. It is the first time I recall falling while remaining conscious. As I speedily descend, I cannot see my arms and hands desperately clawing at the moist soil around me. My face is tortured, battered by roots and rocks, terrible pain against the scars below my eye and the blisters on my hand. My boots find some resistance, spreading wet dirt like a plow on a farm. I slow some, but momentum keeps me endlessly spinning. Something is chasing after me through the pit, gaining speed, coming closer. I hear its whistling, its roar as it ricochets off the walls. I grind my teeth at the thought of contact. Unexpectedly, my legs buckle. I flip over onto my stomach, slide through worms and larvae, and come to a stop. Clenching my fists, cold, wet soil full of granules mashes between my fingers. A strong draft blows from somewhere above me, my muscles tense. Metal and glass explode all around me. The sounds of springs, twanging and wood snapping. The noise makes my ears ring. More things fall around me, pebbles, rocks, even a boulder, I think. I scrambled backwards in fear of being crushed to death and wait in the darkness. My head throbs. I shake it, trying to regain my senses. Then I remember the candles. I grope through the blackness, praying my hands find the things that will save me from this eternal dark. And then I feel them, thin sticks of wax and the bent and twisted remnants of a candelabra. I make do with the instruments of light, placing the candles in their odd directions. Reaching into my satchel, my fingers grip the rough flint stone and dried moss used for sparking fires. The first hit against stone causes me to flinch from the bright flash. I do it again, catching the moss, and then a small flame ignites. Splintered wood and metal gears lie around me, as if I'm in an abandoned junkyard. I shudder at seeing my surroundings. Glass sparkles in the candlelight as I crunch around in the destruction. Everything is obliterated from the heavy impact. The wood casing, the interior of the pendulum box. The only thing left resembling clock is the iron hands used to tell time. With one end pointing out of the ground, I stare at it, waiting for it to move. All is quiet. Looking around the chamber in the glow of candlelight, I find it difficult to make out anything. Shadows cast to and fro, wavering on the walls like specters, forcing me to flinch at my own shadow with the biwaka in hand. If only there was more light. Progression is slow and daunting. The room smells of deep, rich earth, like leaves soaked in rainwater. But there is another scent, the smell of rotting death. Unexpectedly, I lurch forward, nearly falling flat on my face. A quick sweep with the candles reveals my boot wedged between two cobblestones. With a tug, my boot is free, and I immediately take notice of a stone structure in the dim light. It is cold against my fingertips as I run my hand the length of the top. Realizing it is a tomb covered in grayish dirt, I back away quickly, keeping my distance. I can see things crawling along its surface, uncertain if the candles are playing tricks on my eyes. The spider webs droop to the floor, blowing gently from some unknown breeze. Strange, I don't feel a draft. Close by, I hear the trickling of dirt against the tomb and cobblestones. I dare not linger. Even though I am surrounded by death, this place feels alive. I hold the candles high above my head, attempting the best angle of light. The flames flicker, almost blowing out. They recover. I exhale. There was a rumble off in the distance, but as the tremor subsides, more follow. I am at the mercy of structural integrity. Any moment this underground place could collapse in on itself, burying me along with any hope of finding my son. But the ground calms and I press on ever slowly, darkness hindering my progression. The underground tunnel system is vast with interlocking chambers. The cavity I fell into seems to have no end. until my hand grips fresh soil. The dirt is black and candlelight, glistening from the moisture as it slips from my palm. Sweeping the candelabra back and forth, I notice head-sized objects protruding from the wall. They are skulls, dozens of them, maybe hundreds. Row upon row, they line the walls in every direction, disappearing from my circle of light. Wedged in the dirt like ornaments of a palace, they vary from small to large. All the while I imagine to whom they had belonged. I walk farther, gazing at the dead, reaching an area narrowing into a crowded hall. A hall not populated by people or furniture, no, but tombs. They line the base of the hall, side by side, stretching farther than my eyes can see. Above them, resting on shelves carved from the soil, are wooden coffins. The smell of earth has long surpassed the stench of death in its decrepit place, evidence to how ancient my surroundings are. Wiping cobwebs away, I find a coffin dated more than 1,000 years old. It's an interesting notion, walking among the dead servants of a Galician's lineage spanning thousands of years. What have these walls seen? I pass more tomes dated later than the one before, during the time of the Revelation, when vampires first emerged publicly over 2,000 years ago. I wonder at the contents within the caskets, heirlooms, paintings, things vampires never part with. Even in death, the lesson of life is never achieved. I keep to the center of the corridor, avoiding any contact with the tombs. My boots echo as I progress. Back and forth my eyes dart, watching skulls and coffins pass by. There are so many. As I realize I'm trapped in the catacombs, a horrible feeling, one of sickness and desolation, comes over me, for I am the closest one can be to hell. I shudder at the thought of dead spirits, hissing and clawing at my flesh, molesting my body, yet unable to literally touch me. Yet. There is a gust of cold air, and again I stop, hearing a faint whisper, but it passes from one ear to the next. A distorted sound, disembodied in nature, as if whatever is making the sound is struggling to get the words out. The hairs on my ears prickle. I turn my head, but nothing's there. A long drawn-out word whispers through the hall. This. I try to look beyond the blackness of the hall, keeping the candles placed behind my head to prevent the glare. Hello? I say, testing my sanity. A cool breeze blows against my face, caressing me like a soft hand. No. Could it be? I struggle to banish the thought from my mind, but the idea saturates me like an unforgettable stain. How I've missed my Diana. All this death surrounding me amplifies my desire for her. I see her pale face lying on the dirt in the courtyard. I clench my eyes shut. Diana? I manage to say, choking on my speech. Tanner, comes the disembodied voice. Through the stale air, I make out the tenderness of a woman's speech. Diana, is that you? I can't help thinking she's here with me. So long she's plagued my dreams, raptured my body. I can't pass up the chance to be in her presence. There is light, silver like the moon twirling around the base of a tomb, and it spins off to a new location. It passes from one tomb to the next like an iridescent snake floating off the ground. Its trail leaves behind a mist of smoke, dissipating just as quickly as it appears. Come, Tanner, the whisper beckons. I follow despite my better judgment. Reason is lost to me. My heart pounds beneath my breastbone. A few steps and my foot brushes one of the tombs. Tremors rattle the walls of the narrow passage, shaking loose dirt from the ceiling. There is a tremendous crash behind me. When I turn around, there is no fire, no heat. Only the remains of a long-dead servant sprawled across the floor. One of the coffins has fallen from the wall, breaking apart like a mangled crate. The skull at the head of the body stares at me, its mouth open, as if lamenting in silence. Around its neck, a brass oval pendant lies tangled in its own chains. Hollow eyes stare at me as I reach down, open the pendant, and wipe the dust from the glass. There is a picture of a man and a woman, side by side, proper and elegant with black faded clothing. I look over my shoulder, but the light has vanished. The disembodied voice echoes from the hall as if moving away. I do not know what it is saying. "Diana! I'm coming!" Dropping the pendant, I run down the corridor, watching for loose stones and cracks in the floor. There it is. The light. It twists deep into the dark hall, only to vanish again. My pulse quickens, as I fear I might lose her. Reaching a turn in the hall, I somewhat calm myself, realizing she hasn't left me after all. She is passing along the skulls and cobwebs, cracked tombs and gnarled roots. Everything I walk past sparkles in the whitish glow. "Diana, wait for me." She passes above crosses and tombstones. There are epitaphs scrawled across every rock her light touches. The atmosphere becomes lighter. High above, there are cracks of light piercing through the abysmal darkness. Is it day or night? I have lost track of time. I come bursting into a vast chamber full of rich history. An underground graveyard. Catacomb walls stretch higher than the light allows me to see. Skulls and coffin reach up to the very heavens. I stop running and hold my breath. Before me lies a structure made of old mossy stone. 8 pillars surround the outer edge of a raised floor. Steps lead up to its center, a rotunda, similar to the one where Diana and I used to meet when we were young. Everything is as it was then, except for the immense rock smashed through the backside of the roof. Half of the rotunda is gone, crushed among pebbles. Could it be the very one from Delore? The voice whispers around my head. "Tenna!" I move past gravestones along the path drawn by Diana's shimmering iridescent light. There is an impatient breath. "Tenna! I'm coming, my love." It is a strange approaching the rotunda, centered in a valley of death and stone. Maybe I'm not awake. Maybe I'm dreaming. Maybe I'm dead. A chill passes through me and I rub my eyes. Regardless of what is real or not, I continue because my angel is calling me. I must go to her. As I ascend the stairs, I feel no imminent threat and lower my hands. Standing at the center of a large circle, I look around at the smooth marble. My reflection stares at me through centuries of dust. The slivers of light from high above show my pale complexion. Am I dead? "Tenna, come to me," sighs Diana's voice. I imagine her soft breath on my neck, the way her speech muffled in my hair when I pulled her close. But there is nothing now, except the vast emptiness all around me. I am like the sun at the center of a barren universe. No planets, no stars. My eyes are wide with hope as I go from one pillar to the next, searching for something, anything. I wipe back tears, hearing her voice very near. "Don't cry, my Lord Wolfgang." My blood runs cold as I turn to see Diana standing behind me. Perfect in form, her image is solid and white, brighter than the evening star, and her eyes like 2 black holes. What words do I have to say except D? I step forward and she steps back, raising her arms. "Don't, Tenor." I want to touch her, embrace her. I take another step. "No," she says assertively. But why? I am lost to all thought. I am alive. Blood pumps through my veins. Do you remember the spot, she asks, where you used to hold me? Her figure moves to the edge of the rotunda, gazing out over the vast field of graves. Her hands rest against the railing, but not really. Of course I do, I say, rubbing at my wrist where the leather used to be. It was much like this one, bleak, riddled with cold stones. I don't understand why she's telling me this. I come up behind her to embrace her. How I so wantonly desire her touch. I hear her drawing breath and shudder. I reach to cast her long black hair from her back to expose the fleshy white softness of her neck. But my hand passes through her, and she vanishes in a puff of white smoke. I stagger forward, gripping the railing where her tender hand was. The surface is cold. I try to choke back the swelling in my eyes. You chose me, Tenor, says Diana's voice from behind me. It sounds hollow and emotionless. I don't want to look. Yes, I chose you, and I have failed you. Why do you torment me so, haunting my visions day and night? I wait, yet there's no answer. Why? I yell. Because you still have purpose, Tenor Alvadine Wolfgang. I cannot remember the last time she called me by my full name. I knew it meant she was determined, and that she would get what she desired. Always. What do you want? I say, tears dripping from my face. I want to look at her, but can't. The anticipation of touching her one last time has broken me. Curse this castle! I scream, kicking the banister. Pieces of stone chip away, falling onto the gravestones below. Turning around, I sink to the floor, my elbows resting on my knees, my face in my hands. I don't want to look. I know she is there, sitting before me. A wind brushes against my skin. I open my eyes, and her black eyes are staring at me. What do you want? I ask again, unable to control myself. For you to save Dorian, she whispers. I feel dumbfounded by her request. I have been. It's all I think about. Did I miss something? Her voice is weak all of a sudden. It wavers due to some unseen force. You don't understand, Tenor. Wait, don't leave, I say desperately. Despite my anguish, I want her beside me, even if she's not real. I need her strength. I need her guidance. There is a tremor off in the distance. I did what I could to save him, she says, voice fading. It is nearly gone. I choke on words and struggle to find something to say, but they elude me, as does she. Now it's your turn. I am left to hear nothing but the slight breeze blowing from the high cracks in the cavern ceiling above. Diana is gone.